Hello, everybody. Tracy Hackle with Roadshow Cards here with a premiere inaugural edition of the Roadshow Roundup. As you can see, I'm joined by special guests galore, all part of the Roadshow family. Um, we have Trey Huntsman, who runs the Kentucky Roadshow in Lexington, Kentucky. We have Cody Krim, who will run the Texas Roadshow in Mansfield, Texas. We have Justin and Ryan Channels. You know them through their social media presence and their Curry Vault and Game News stuff, and they will run the California Roadshow in Sonoma, California. And then last but certainly not least, Kevin Kulikowski, who will run the New York Roadshow. And the Roadshow Roundup is, as the name suggests, just a roundup of all that's going on. We're doing things quite different with the Roadshow franchise. We're going to have a true franchise of shops across the country. One is open now. Trey, how long has Kentucky been open?
November 4th, 2020 was our first day. So not even 18 months yet.
All right, 18 months. It's a great shop. It's a destination shop, as all of the shops will be. And so Trey spent his time kind of building up the Kentucky shop with Jimmy Mahan, who's our fearless leader, our visionary, our head hobby chief. And by April 1st-ish, the other three shops will be open. So the Roundup will provide us a chance each week to kind of catch up, see what's going on in the store, and then eventually what's going on in the stores. So this week is a little different because the Channels brothers are not in California. They're in Lexington, Kentucky. So can you explain to the people why you guys are in Lexington, Kentucky and have been for the last few weeks?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've been in Lexington the past 2 weeks, just training for our shop as our shop gets ready to open, and then Kevin or I guess it's backwards. Kevin and Cody over there will be training similar to us. They'll just come out. We've been just doing everything. I mean, Trey has been a great teacher for us, just kind of giving us enough space to kind of make the Kentucky shop our own for a couple weeks and just really learn and get familiar with customers coming in, looking through collections, buying things, selling things, all the back end stuff as well. It's been a lot of fun, and we've learned a ton. So we've just been out here engaging with the community, and just really getting excited for our opening. So it's been a great time.
And Trey, so this is a two-part question. First for Trey, then let's go Justin, because he hasn't spoken really yet.
Sure.
But what's the most important thing, Trey, that you wanted to impart to the brothers during this 2-week learning process?
So I think we all know how to buy, sell cards. Selling wax does it for itself. The biggest thing is really interacting with your community, learning how to have so many different conversations throughout a day, because you're going to go 1 second from helping a kid who's never opened a pack of cards before in his life to selling wax to somebody that wants to rip flawless, to somebody that's trying to sell you, a Curry auto, to somebody that's bringing you 80s and 90s, shoe boxes. So it's about each one of those different conversations, learning how to have it, learning how to each problem that walks in the door, making it not even a problem anymore and creating a solution for each person that walks in, and creating an environment that is welcoming. If it is the last time you walk in, if it's the first of thousands, it's about creating an experience for each person. And man, Ryan and Justin, they just killed it, knocked it out of the park. All the people that have come in, all the interactions that they've gotten to have, it's been awesome to get to watch them develop in our community. And I can't wait to see what they do in theirs.
And so Justin and Ryan, what's been the biggest takeaway or learning from your 2 weeks in Lexington that maybe you didn't envision coming in?
I think for me, probably my biggest takeaway is just how much goes on behind the scenes that you all of us are probably aware of, but the execution thereof and the processes that are put in place. And so, like if you're anything from online orders to in-person mistakes, whatever happens, there is a streamlined order of how to fix those mistakes. And then the other big takeaway I had was, like Trey said, developing over the last couple of weeks is when somebody walks through the door with something, okay, you go, yeah, oh, you're watching a YouTube video. Oh yeah, here's how I would respond to that situation, but doing it live in person or something like that when they walk in, instead of saying like, oh hey, what's up, what's going on, and then from that, like, oh, kind of nervous, kind of here and there, to okay, there's somebody walking in, I'm here to help, let's rock and roll. And it's been great. I feel much more confident than I did 2 weeks ago, and ready to rock and create something super special in Sonoma.
Ryan, same question.
Sure. Yeah. I think like the most fun thing for me has just been like, well, I guess that's not the question. The question is, what was my favorite takeaway?
He's making his own episode 1, and he's making his own question.
Right.
Yeah, that's a great question.
I'm here.
Ryan, you can answer any question you want, real or imagined.
Said Tracy, with all due respect, I am answering a different question.
Yeah. No, man, I feel like we've learned a lot, and I think that one thing that I enjoy just in my life in general is organization, and I think just like learning how to have everything at a card shop is like Justin was saying, just processes. Like, when you're working with David Diamondstein, it's like everything is like he's got it all laid out to a T. So it's like kind of just learning that, okay, well, no matter how many people come through that door, no matter how big the collection is, like we have it, like everything is just kind of plug and play. Like as Jimmy would say, it's like, okay, here's our situation, here's how we're going to handle it, and we do every single bit of that with the same energy that we would, just be with our friends. So we treat everybody the same, and everybody, walks out of there, similar to what Trey was saying, with a solution to the questions or issues or cards. Really anything that they have. They want to sell, they'll walk out with money. They want to buy, they'll walk out with product. Like it's been fun.
Yeah, that's really the key, is like leaving people with the feeling to want to always come back and like hang out, right, even if they don't buy or sell, or they just want to come watch the game and talk hobby or sports. I mean, it's such a great place for that. And today in Kentucky was a long day, but the guys from Slab Stocks, Aaron and Nate and Aaron's father, came in and filmed a bunch of content with Jimmy and the team at Kentucky. That was kind of fun to watch and be a part of. Yesterday in Kentucky, Trey is phenomenal with all the customers, but really the kids and the relationship that Trey and David and Jimmy have with the younger collectors in the store is really impressive. And I think it's something that we can all take back to our locations. So that was awesome. But for Cody and Kevin, and even the channels, but the channels are getting hands-on learning this week. But for Cody and Kevin, kind of talk about where each of you guys is in your current build-out process or coming soon process.
We've actually made a lot of progress just in the past week at my store. It's been fighting tooth and nail to get to this point, but construction is starting. Met with my contractor and electrician, met with the guy who's installing our AC unit. Texas is a little bit different scenario than California and New York, in that we're going into a completely new space that hasn't been leased or ran by anybody else, and there hasn't been another store in that spot. Whereas in California and New York, they're facing problems because they're having to demo everything. We're not really having to demo everything. We're going into a new building. But that means city permits, getting things up to code because you're installing stuff that has never been in a space. So I'm really excited. There's been a lot of movement this week from a ton of different people. I've said this on my YouTube videos and Tracy interviews that we did on there. But so if you need to subscribe, go to Texas Roadshow on YouTube. To
what did you just point to?
Shame,
there's going to be a
link. I forget I don't have a link to point to.
Magic happens in
the description down below.
Yeah, no, but like the interesting thing for me has been all the stuff that doesn't involve cards, right? Like, Trey said earlier, we're all here because we know how to buy and sell cards, but the construction aspect, negotiating with building owners, negotiating with contractors, having discussions with contractors on who are getting out to run electric, where all these outlets are going to go. Is our AC unit going to fit correctly without being too high above the front of the building? Just a lot of those conversations that I've never really had. And that's kind of been definitely a struggle because I've never done it, but it's definitely been one of those things that has been fun to learn along the way. And I probably wouldn't have ever had that experience had it not been for this opportunity. So, but yeah, that's where we're at. I think we're all projecting around beginning of April opening. So we'll see how all that falls into place over the next 8 to 10 weeks or so. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to see how the shop develops and how the building goes over the next few months.
And then Kevin, your time on the hot seat, go.
So I think, as everybody has hopefully at this point seen on our first edition of Walk-In Wednesday, the New York shop is in a unique spot where it was already a retail establishment, and it sort of the bones and the structure is really in order. So it's like nothing wild and nothing crazy, but as everybody is learning, when you deal with smaller towns and when you're having to deal with permits and that kind of stuff,
Yep.
that is what takes the longest. So an update on where the New York shop is at. We are in the initial stages. My contractor, we're sort of plotting out what we want to do and how we want to go about it. And then we're going to be having the conversations with the town. So I don't want to jinx anything, but assuming that the conversations with the town and getting the permits that we need for the little bit of things that need permits go well, we should be very quickly making a ton of progress. So sort of for New York, there's no action items at the moment happening, but everything is sort of getting assembled in place to be able to just quickly go when we have everything set.
That's awesome. And so, to Kevin's point, like the Walk-In Wednesday stuff. So Roadshow Cards is kind of the umbrella account for all the individual shops. So Kentucky Roadshow has its own social, Texas, California, New York. Roadshow will kind of bring them all together and kind of show the development, the build out of the stores. And Walk-In Wednesday was actually an idea that Trey had the last time I was in Lexington, and it was perfect. The song is catchy.
It's very good. It's Kevin's
I
favorite.
can't wait.
We're brainstorming a new song, ladies and gentlemen.
I can't wait for the next
Can we
one.
use Walk It Out?
That was one of my suggestions.
Okay.
I'm all in. 2
We've
votes.
had this discussion. We've had it.
Trey wasn't
National account limits some of
watching.
the sound options, but Walk-In Wednesday, I can't wait for the next one because
Wait, y'all
I
have a
can't wait
business
to hear the
account?
song.
That's a callback to our test podcast, ladies and gentlemen. So the folks who missed that one,
Yeah.
that's where
Glad
that's
that
where
wasn't
that is.
recorded. But I want to go back to Trey for a second because so I came in Tuesday of this week, a few days ago, and there was like a 25-minute period where things were just cranking in the store. I mean, phones were ringing. The card bar was packed with kids of all ages. There was action going on at the table by the TV. So I want to know, Trey, like, what is your favorite kind of moment or environment in the Kentucky Roadshow? Like, do you want it packed with people all the time? Do you need time to like gather your thoughts and not have too many people? Like, what's your favorite time of the shop cycle?
Man, like it's pretty crazy usually from start to finish. There's usually something going on. Jimmy's walking in with 19 dues at 4:00 in the afternoon and, crazy ideas flowing and, whatever's happening next. But I think probably my favorite part of the day is like that 3:00 hour when all the schools let out and you have all the kids coming in with their allowances and running through the dollar box. And, you can ask Ryan and Justin, they got to see on the first day, the number of times that the sentence starts with, "Hey, Trey," is got to be upwards in the millions. But I love it. And it's kind of, to be a little bit patient with it at times, but that's definitely my favorite part of the day. I love it, obviously when people are in there ripping boxes and we're having a good time flipping through stuff. And days like today when it's you and Jimmy and, the twins and slab stocks and everybody, Jimbo's in there, and we're just cutting it up and, eating fish sticks all day and having a good day.
There's a South Park joke somewhere in there that we'll leave out.
I already sent that gift today.
Okay.
But, you can ask Ryan and Justin about what it's like getting to experience when those kids are coming in, because it's very rewarding, but it does take a little bit of patience and understanding that they're wanting to learn and they're the next part of our hobby.
Yeah. If I may, one of the coolest moments for me was they're all running around, and some of them are pulling on your sleeve as you're standing there trying to check somebody else out. They're so eager and they're so happy to see all the different cards. And one of them asked me to pull one of the cards down. I was showing it to him, and I said, "Oh yeah, it's an on-card auto. It's this and that." And he goes, "What does that mean?" And so I was like, "Well, let me take this second to really dive in here and see what he would think." And so I got a sticker auto and I got an on-card auto, and I showed him side to side, like, "Oh, you can see the sticker on this one, and this one is on card." So the athlete held it in their hand. I was like, "Oh wow, that's really cool." So like just to see the light go off to like, "Oh yeah, that, like, I get it," just to add another thing, because obviously they really like the cards, but as to be in a position to teach like that is really rewarding.
# elevate the hobby.
Exactly. That's our whole mission here at Roadshow Cards.
And that's what we're about. And it's like when I refer, or we all refer to Kentucky Roadshow as like a destination shop, like that's not just lip service. When you go in, you see it, you get it immediately. It's just a vibe unlike any other hobby shop. And to be able to build upon that in 3 different cities for now and many more cities down the road is quite exciting. And also exciting is the show circuit, and the show circuit is picking up. Cody and Kev spent some time at what some people are calling the best show other than the National in Dallas. Some great content built around the Dallas show. Cody and Chase, his brother, and Kevin, and even I was able to kind of get in on some of that content. So if you want to see what the Dallas show meant to Cody and even to Kev, go to the YouTube channel that's right. Roadshow, the Texas Roadshow YouTube channel, and then there's a great video predating the Dallas show, even, where our very own Kevin Kulikowski from New York Roadshow, right there, the handsome one with the hat. I guess that's Cody, Trey, and Kevin. Handsome ones with hats, but
you guys didn't get the memo with the hats today.
But if you go, Kevin, if you know this, if you go to Roadshow Cards on social, you'll get a great recap of the Causeway show in Boston from the Card Vault from Chris Costa. And I only bring all that up to say that there's a shout out from Prism God in that video.
The God.
And he is actually having his second annual Culture Collision show at the end of February, and a few Roadshow folks are going to be there. So look out for that. That's exciting. And that's really all I have to say about that. But anyway, so each week we'll kind of get a new roundup and see how things are going. Because as you guys know, you guys are living it right now. Over the next 2 or 3 or 4 weeks, things are going to happen at a pretty fast clip. And there's going to be a lot to update on the socials and in the Roadshow Roundup podcast, vlog, content piece. But new releases is where we're going next.
We had two today.
Dose, if you're bilingual like me.
One significantly more important than the other.
Ooh, I
no
want to
offense
know.
To the other release.
Kind of feel bad for the other release you're talking about, but go ahead.
So today, everybody knows was flawless NBA basketball.
Big one.
Big boy. LaMelo and Anthony Edwards, what feels like the 927th product that's been put out with them, but Flawless is the cream of the crop, as I'm sure everybody knows. And then we had TriStar autographed baseballs was the only other release on the calendar for today.
Wrap it up, Trey.
Yeah, Trey, calm down.
Obviously, we know which one we're looking forward to most.
The one we're not
Right.
laughing at, I
Although
guess.
I will say some of the chases in the TriStar baseball series are legit. So that's, listen, some people are memorabilia collectors and they're going to be drawn to TriStar baseballs, and TriStar does an amazing job with their mem products, but going toe to toe on release day with Flawless is a tough task. And the one thing I'm sure everybody's seen and has watched videos and breaks of Flawless already, the stuff is loaded, like absolutely loaded. The interesting thing was when it hit Panini's website this morning, it was up 40% on retail cost over last year's Flawless price. And so that was a bit of a hot button debate this morning, whether the price is justified. I believe it was just over $9,200 a box on Panini's website. But looking at some of the stuff that's coming out of there and the dual logo man classes, like they paired some stars, they have some rookies. Flawless always delivers.
$9,200 a box.
And what is it, like 10? It's 10 cards, right? I believe.
1,000 cards.
You guys all remember the time when the product released and it was $1,500, and that was unheard of.
Yeah.
It was unheard of. And now it's $9,200 a box. And when you tell people that, like, you guys all know people in your family or close friends or distant friends, when you tell them that a box of cards now could cost upwards of $9,000, they look at you like you got six heads. And it is an
so hard to
fact.
explain to somebody who's not in the hobby. Like it's wild.
To that point too, Tracy, you and I know it probably didn't even sell out at $1,500.
No, it didn't at all. But so before we get into Friday releases, Trey, kind of what's been some of the hotter, and Justin and Ryan too, since you've been in the shop for 2 weeks, what are some of the most requested products in the shop over the last few days?
So I would say really in the shop, I was talking to you about it earlier about football. Like football, we cannot keep on the shelf. That's not a hyperbole. I mean, it gets in, I unwrap it, it's gone that day. When we got Panini Black, I sold out of my entire inventory in 15 minutes. Like no matter what I got 3 cases of H2 Classics that came out. That has not been out very long. I'm down to, I think, 8 packs left out of everything. 20 box cases just flying. Wow. Football is pretty much just the most popular. Mosaic football's already gone. Had to do full reorders of every 2021 and 2020 product just to have them in for trade night this weekend. And I think a lot of that is because we are a basketball town, but I think we're a football neighborhood because we're 1.5 miles from the football stadium. Most of the coaches and their kids live in that neighborhood. So instead of your heroes, a lot of times in that area being Devin Booker and Karl Towns, it's Wan'Dale Robinson and it's Benny Snell and it's Lynn Bowden and those guys. So you grow up around football and you grow up around SEC football being 5 minutes from your house. Like whenever I was at college, like I walked over and watched Dak Prescott play, 5 minutes from my dorm. So there's a lot more football fans with the SEC definitely in this area. And I'm sure Ryan and Justin can confirm. I mean, singles too, everything. Football is just, it's the most collectible right now. And it's the most fun to rip for most people in our shop.
And it's playoff time.
Yeah,
so
say
playoff 100%.
Exactly. I say, take a look at the games we had just last.
I told multiple people this. I think that last weekend may go down as the best playoff weekend of all time. Like,
unless you were a Titans, Packers, Bills fan.
Well, yeah, but I'm talking about just as far as like
Cody doesn't know what the divisional round even feels like.
Right, exactly. So I was just hoping for close games, right?
That felt like 4 championship games.
I saw somebody tweeted out that they should cancel the rest of the playoffs and have the Bills and the Chiefs just play a best-of-7 series.
They should just play 7-on-7. Like,
it wasn't the worst idea.
I mean, that that game may go down as like one of the best games to ever be played.
Incredible.
Honestly,
Incredible. The whole thing. I mean, 4 walk-off victories. Are you kidding?
Yeah. The Bills
Yeah,
converting on
and
4th and 13 for a touchdown to Gabriel Davis breaking ankles wide open in the end zone. I mean, it was nuts.
Everybody going back through their boxes from last year, trying to make sure they didn't sell their Gabriel Davis.
Right.
$5 on ComC.
Yeah, and that's a great lesson. Like, for years, we've all had those discussions with people about, dude, don't disparage these guys that you pull out of a product because you don't know them. Just hold on to them. And Gabriel Davis is a perfect example. I mean, what's the one-day turnaround on his values?
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Insane.
And nobody wanted him last year or whatever.
no one wanted
Right.
him.
It's one of those ones. It's one of those ones where like you pulled his like NFL shield from like wherever, and you're just like, all right, whatever. I won't sell this because it's an NFL shield, and I'm getting offered $40 on eBay.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden you turn around and that's a monumental card to
Yeah,
sell.
Sounds like a
sell
guy
in the
that's got a
hype.
Gabriel Davis shield.
Yeah, it's in the back. It's gonna hit eBay tomorrow. No, I'm kidding.
When does this podcast go live?
Yeah.
Don't worry about that.
Right. Come on now, guys. You gotta know this stuff.
Also, Trey mentioned Devin Booker, and I just got a notification that Booker put up 21 points in the first quarter.
Oh, great! I got some great Devin Booker shots from the shop today out of the Jimmy's mind-blowing stash that he has, and look for those on our social feeds.
Roadshow cards. Follow it.
Roadshow cards. And then we have a couple of Friday releases too. Is
We
that right?
do, yeah.
Got a big one.
So just to be all encompassing, we have a new Yu-Gi-Oh set, Grand Creators, coming out, booster boxes on Friday.
Okay.
There is a
Clap it up,
Pokemon
Justin.
V-Star box coming out on Friday.
Okay.
And then there were some interesting ones, and I'm sure that this is going to be a heavy hitter for Trey in the Kentucky shop. Mosaic No Huddle comes out on Friday,
Sick.
which
That's gonna be
is a nice quick hitter. That should be a
What
good product.
what is that? What do those parallels look like? I don't really remember from last year.
Those are the disco, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
That's the
so
same
they're
as
similar to
Fast
like the Prism.
It's
Fast
like
forward.
It's
What are
like
the Prism
yeah.
discos?
the discos are like the dots.
Bubbly.
Right?
The dots, the bubbles.
Yeah,
Yeah,
what are
bubbles,
the?
yeah.
What isn't Prism Disco? Isn't that a Asian release?
No, that's
No, that's Prism Fast Break.
Yeah, isn't it? Oh, that's Fast Break. Okay, yeah, right. Yeah,
you're thinking
What's-
T-Ball.
yeah. I'm
T-Ball
thinking
is like-
T-Ball. What's
That's
the T-Ball
waves.
parallel?
Old waves. T-Mall.
That's
T-Ball's
gold
the-
and red waves.
That's right.
Timo's a rapper that always uses the voice thing.
The voice changer.
Yeah.
Does this microphone have that feature? Can I do that next
We
week?
good.
Auto tune?
He's on Twitch now.
Yes. And his intro on Twitch is one of the stuff of legends, if you haven't seen it.
Hey, that's what's up. Hey, that's right. Let's go, check.
But no, so then we have an interesting one, because when I was looking at this sell sheet, I saw something that really popped out to me, and it is wild card illumination. And wild card sort of with this rookie class has tried to push themselves into relevancy, and they've had awesome products, really cool, unique. They were doing thumbprint autographs, which is a cool concept, and their initial release was received well. It came out right around the time of one of the Dallas shows, and people were buying it and people were enjoying it because there was value there. Now with this new release, they have, and I kid you not, it is essentially if somebody took a Panini Kaboom and said, hey, copy my homework, but change it up a little bit so it looks like you did your own homework. It's interesting, but the cards look cool. They have a really shiny aluminum sort of feel to them. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. They're a little over $200 a box. And with that hitting at the same time as Fast Break, it'll be interesting to see. But the big release on Friday is Immaculate Football, just in time for another fun weekend of playoff football. So that'll be huge. I mean, there's some awesome quarterbacks who performed well this season. There's some awesome quarterbacks who have room to grow in the next season, and then a wide receiver who came out of nowhere and just really took the scene by storm. One of Jimmy's boys, Jamar Chase.
Yes, he's
it's going to be really interesting to see what Immaculate Football does, because we've kind of fallen into this groove in the past year and a half or so where a product like Immaculate comes out and then it kind of comes out mid-season and it steadily grows over the next few weeks. But with this coming out towards the end of the season, obviously you have Jamar Chase and there is a big hit, but all the big rookie quarterbacks. I guess Trey Lance could still do something actually, but Zach Wilson, Trevor Lawrence, they're already out of the playoffs, so that'll be interesting to watch and see what that does price wise over the next week or two.
And it's gonna be interesting next month too, because Prism comes out in the middle of March.
Crazy.
And which is a month and 2 weeks until the next draft. So, as selling wax, it's going to be a little bit different. But I think as collectors and picking up singles, it's actually going to help you if you're going for some of these guys in Prism, because a lot of the eyes aren't going to be on Zach Wilson or Trey Lance or Justin Fields. They're going to be on Kenny Pickett and Matt Corral and Malik Willis when they're coming up, and the combine's right around there, and well, I was going to say, Contenders draft would be coming out, but it probably won't hit until around the draft at that point. But that's where most of the attention is going to be on, and it's going to be on basketball too. So Prism football this year might be a really good buy, because there's not going to be as many eyes on those singles at that point.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a great point, and it's interesting to sort of bring up the question of do you want products to drop mid-season when you still have a chance to prospect as the season's going on and maybe buy your guys cheap? Or now, we've seen a full body of work, we've seen a full season for a lot of these guys. What do prices do? There's no, okay, we're halfway through the season, Mac Jones looks decent. It's oh, okay, here's Mac Jones, he's had a full season. His prices are going to reflect that this dude looks like he's going to be starting in New England for a very long time, So yes, to Trey's point, I agree. But with how collectors are and we see it's shiny new toy, right? And so the question becomes, do you get a 2-week window where it's prism, and then all of a sudden it's oh, okay, next rookie class? Or, does Prism sustain its sort of staying power and then push into the new rookie class? So that'll be an interesting,
and it'll be really interesting too, because Optic and Select, which normally it's spaced out, December to February to March or whenever it is, you're going to have most of those releases plus Immaculate at the end of this month, and then probably NT. You're going to have your biggest 5 hitters in about a 90-day span right now.
It's going to be a real test for some of those brands, because Prism's never been out this late. So is it going to be as in demand as it normally would be? I don't know, but I think we're going to find out. And speaking of Immaculate, there's a product that was requested of Trey in the Kentucky shop a few weeks back that was, correct me if I'm wrong, Trey, but you said a kid came in and wanted to buy the Immaculate Conception product, right?
Yes.
And
yes.
we had to tell him that was truly a one-on-one. And that we think what he meant, I think, Trey, is what you told him, is that it's Immaculate Collection.
Yes.
But
yes.
if anybody's releasing the Immaculate Conception product,
I heard that's going to be released in NFT form.
Yes.
So that was a fun story. That's just a fun story. I remember when Trey texted me that, because I think it was not long after I left last time, and Trey texted me, and I thought that was just such a cute story. The kid he wanted some Immaculate, and he's a good Christian school kid. And
also, big pockets on that little man. Then.
Yeah, I know.
Right?
Yeah. He'd been reading the Testament, you could tell.
He had sold enough Bibles door to door that he can afford a box of Immaculate.
Kev, you weren't dropping $2,500 on an Immaculate box when you were 10?
Dude, I had a hard time dropping $250 on a box of 2012, Crown, or it was Preferred at the time. So
you could have
no,
got Prism basketball back then for like $100.
listen, if I tell you the amount of 2012 Prism base that I have donated to children's hospitals because I had no idea that it was going to be what it was, I hope those kids enjoyed it.
Good
But
guy, Kevin.
I
Yeah.
try. I'm just
You
trying
are a
to
good guy, Kevin.
hashtag elevate the hobby.
Yes, elevate the hobby. Look, here's the deal. We're gonna do one of these once a week, and so we're gonna have plenty of time to know each other, talk about the hobby in detail, about elevating the hobby in detail. Quick, Roadshow Roundup. Look for it every week. Go see Trey in Kentucky if you're in Lexington. At the
Trade
Roadshow
night,
Roundup.
Friday.
Oh yeah, Friday night trade night in Lexington. Be there 7 to 9. It's gonna be bonkers, and then stay tuned next week. The other shops will show you progress. We'll update you on new products and all that. So thank y'all, gentlemen. Thank you. You're awesome, and we'll see y'all soon. Oh, all your socials, we'll just tag them on the screen, so you don't have to worry about it.
Make it nice and easy.
So,
Hugs, not drugs. We'll see you next week. All right, welcome everybody to the inaugural segment, Jimmy's Gems. I'm joined by arguably the most special guest I've ever been joined by, the great Jimmy Mahan, the patriarch of the Kentucky Roadshow and Roadshow Cards franchise. And this is a segment that I really wanted to do because it's Jimmy's Gems, and it's obviously about your gem trading cards, but it's a little more than that. It's about kind of communicating to the community some of your pillars, some of your gems for the foundation of your life and your business. So for this first episode, you're in your home office.
Yes.
I think you have two pretty sweet cards that you want to talk about as your first two Jimmy's Gems.
I do. I mean, and one acquired almost 10 years ago, and one acquired about 10 months ago, maybe less than that, probably 3 months ago. But thank you. This is exciting. It reminds me of early in the pandemic doing just something when we were all stuck at home doing just cards of the day. I was just picking cards, and I mean, there's no shortage of massive expensive cards that you can look at on the internet, and that's fun too. But what I love doing is the stories behind them.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, grew up collecting sets and things that doesn't really happen as much anymore, and I've certainly evolved in how I do my collecting, but I do gravitate still towards just that story, and and the why I collect. Like, I don't care if it's a base card of a guy that's worth 11 cents on a good day. I love it. And so I want to show the big cool stuff that as I've grown as a collector and my ability to get really big, cool heat, I can show some of that, but also some of the other side of it that still is what I'm up at night looking for on eBay. So the first one's some heat. And so this is in a special booklet case. It's a triple threads, trifold booklet of Freeman, Acuna, and Albies. And it's really cool because the Freeman and Albies are both different postseason jersey patches, which is unbelievable. And then the Acuna is just a great big part of the R in Braves. And growing up, I'm an hour from Cincinnati. Most people here are Reds fans, but in the late 80s, you come home from school at the end of the day, and there are two things on TV for sure, and it's WGN and the Cubs with Harry Carey, or it's TBS and the Braves. And as a kid, I fell in love with Dale Murphy, and I fell in love with Bob Horner, and that was not a good baseball team. Dale Murphy was very good. The rest of them might be installing your kitchen now. Like that, they are not good. but I fell in love and then later moved to Atlanta. I arrived in Atlanta in 95, 96. And man, that was, Chipper, Andrew, Smoltz, Glavin, Maddox, Mark Lemke, like all this. And somebody else pulled this and posted on Twitter. And they had won the World Series at that point in the past year, which was amazing. Drove down for Game 3 for the World Series with my wife. And I thought, oh my gosh, that's a dream card for me, who I love Acuna more than some of my cousins. And I thought, it's going to be, somebody's going to ask like $5,000 for it or something crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't happen that way. The guy got a super fair price and reached out to me and said, man, this would be great in your collection. And I mean, that even makes the story even better for me, because not only is it cool and that's great, I mean, I'm never going to sell it.
Mm-hmm.
No chance.
Right.
I mean, death grip. And it's not autographed or anything like that, but it's cool because it's one thing I love about the card community, where you see it so much. And I don't think it's like this in like real estate or banking or whatever, but people will say, I know you love this. I know you are passionate about this, and let me help get this to you. I need fair market value, but let me do this to you. And maybe left some money on the table on an eBay auction or something like that.
Yeah.
And that's just special. That is special to me because, the last World Series Braves, I didn't get to go. I saw was 26 years ago, and I got to be at this one, and they win, surprisingly. And then this card, it's that memory in my head forever that came from this cool community. And I always feel like cards are the perfect intersection between sports and history.
Yeah.
And you stamp that moment. Like, maybe all three of these guys completely bomb out below the Mendoza line for the rest of their life, and they couldn't play T-ball. Like,
it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter, because that year they were champs. And that year, a cool guy on Twitter helped me get this card, and I went to the game with all of that.
Yeah.
And it's just, that's what we're trying to build, right? Just that already exists. It's just, can we create hubs where all that can take place in person? And so that's a big one to me. So yes, that's an expensive one. Yeah. And I'm just yapping. I'm sorry. I don't know if you have any questions.
I could listen to you yap until we go to bed. It's all good.
Here's a story. I started collecting in 1980. So here's the other one. Not expensive, because that's the other thing. Like, if you truly love cards, you can collect cards. I hear a lot of people talk about being priced out of the hobby. No, you can, and this has happened, of course, you can get priced out of the type of cards you used to love.
Yep.
But you can still get cards at the same price that you've been spending. They're not the ones that you love. Yes, Prism is nuts. It's insane, immaculate, stuff like that. But we have $5 packs. We have, like, you can collect. You just got to adjust. And I've adjusted. Trust me.
We all
Trust
have.
me.
Yeah.
But so here's one where I think is just incredibly unique. This is a Goodwin Champions card.
Wow.
Of a horse called Super Saver.
Okay.
And Super Saver won the 2009 Kentucky Derby, and that is a piece of hair from the mane of Super Saver.
Wow.
And to me, it's the other part of cards where I like to have, it's not just the story, but like that lifting up of what I've always loved in my community and what has been a thread in my life. That this, my uncle works in the horse racing business. My grandfather is an equine veterinarian. Like, everybody but me and my dad's in horse racing.
Yeah.
And when they came out with this, I've seen jockey cards and things like this, and these are not expensive cards. But it's the Kentucky Derby. Like, we're not famous for a lot of things in Kentucky, right? But they're three. It's basketball, bourbon, and horse racing. And we're really good at those. And, like, if you get into, like, education and, like, energy efficiency, probably not the state for you. But this is so cool because this is my home.
Mm-hmm.
This is an actual, the game worn piece of hair from Super Saver, the horse that I got to see, and that we know people that were in the training group for this and all that. And it's like, I've got these up around my office. Yes, you got the big boys that cost a lot, but this to me is the whole premise of collect what you love.
Yeah.
Collect what you love. And people can get caught up in it. And I've definitely been caught up in it. It's like, oh, I got to get an Aaron Rodgers, or I got to get a Tatis, or this or that. And then you sit back one day and you're like, I don't know anybody on the Padres other than Tatis. And I'm a Braves fan. What am I doing? Again, I'm talking collecting, not flipping. Yes, I'm obviously a proponent of flipping.
Sure.
And doing that. But I'm talking collecting. And the core base of the hobby for the majority of the existence of the hobby was, this is a cool moment in my life. This is a favorite player. This is a favorite thing that I associate with. So to me, it's cool. To me, I people come in the shop, especially people that haven't been in it in a while, and they're like, these used to be 50 cents. And like, okay, just inflation, you shouldn't have thought that it was still going to be that. But to me, it's like, yeah, it's way more expensive. It's way better.
Yeah.
Like, this is way cooler than anything I could have had out of a Braves card in 1995 when they won it last time.
Yeah.
I'll take this all day, and I will pay the premium to open this box to see if I can get something like this.
Yeah.
But I can also not spend a lot and collect what I love. And we preach that in the shop all the time, especially with all the new collectors coming in, which is, how do I do this? Okay, who's your favorite team? Who's your favorite? Start there.
Yep.
Start there. Because what I always tell people is, if your collection went to zero market value, would you still like to look at it?
Yep.
And I can tell you, I don't care what these are worth. They are on the wall. They're staying. And I don't care if it's worth $1. Maybe I got killed on a trade or a transaction because broken legs and whatever.
Yeah.
But I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. And I think that if you keep the premise of collect what you love, you can find something, you can grow. I couldn't afford some of this stuff back when I was 16. And you build your collection as you grow your passion, you'll be happy in the hobby the rest of the life. And then you'll meet people that seek you out. They see that you're passionate. Oh man, Jimmy, I need to get a good price on this card, but I'm going to go to you with this Braves card.
Yeah.
I'm going to go to you with this because you're passionate about it. And I love that. And I think that the community rewards that constantly.
No doubt.
Constantly. It's
no
not,
doubt.
You got your characters for sure, but it's, what can I do to help your collection?
Yeah.
And it goes to what we're trying to do, which is elevate the hobby, create the hubs to allow those interactions to happen consistently, frequently, and in the right environment.
Well, if you collect what you love, you will never be disappointed. And if you listen to Jimmy's Gems and Jimmy Mahan, you will never be disappointed. So that's the first installment of Jimmy's Gems, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. We have so much more coming in the weeks and months and years ahead. And I know I've told you this countless times. I couldn't be happier to be with you on this journey. And I look forward to a bunch of the cool stuff we're going to do. Jimmy Mahan, thank you. We'll see you real soon, brother.
We're just getting started, baby. We're just getting started.
Let's go.
Thank you, my brother.
Thank you, Jimmy.